It's where they have a mic over here.
Come, we got tomorrow. Be louder. expressing my akar satov. First of all, Dr. Goldsmith, that just really so excited to see you. And thank you. You and all of your chaverim here, to Joe, to Maury, to Al, to really helping us, trying to zone in, adjust our mode, our state of mind, to not just jump into the Yom Noraim, but as we said, to figure out how to open the doors. The doorway is opening right now, and we're entering into a new time zone, and it's important to adjust ourselves as we open that door. The Medrash in this week's parsha, the second Medrash Rabbah in this week's parsha, Shabbos of Slichot, speaks about the doors. Shakadati al dlasosai. I hung out by the doorways. The Medrash speaks about a person who hangs out by the doors. Speaks about many different doors, dlasosai. And it's very fitting that this Medrash that talks about us hanging out by the doorways, trying to figure out how to open the doors, is recited on the parsha that we are about to begin Slichos, Shabbos Slichos, that we recite Kedalim ukeroshim dafaknu d'losecha. We knock on your doors, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Shabbos Slichos and bells was a very special Shabbos. The Hasidim would come to spend Shabbos with the Belzer Rebbe. And there was a Gvir, was a very wealthy man who came to spend, the Belzer Chassid, who came to spend Shabbos with Rabbi Yisachar Dov of Belz, the Belzer Rebbe of the time. And after Shabbos, he told the Gabbai, listen, I have a very important business meeting Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. I know that it's off limits right now, but you have to find a way to try to get me in so that I can speak to the Rebbe before I leave, because I gotta go. I can't wait till he has pigishas, till he has meetings with the Kabbalah's Kahal. You have to slip me in. And the Gabbai said, the Rebbe right now, Motzei Shabbos, right now in the Zman, he's in his room and he's preparing Slichos. This time is off limit. You can't come in right now. This Gvir knew that the Gabbai's situation financially was a little difficult. He slipped him a check, and the Gabbai said, right this way. He opened the doors, and the Chassid sits down in front of the Rebbe. The Rebbe is sitting there with the Slichos open on his desk, and he lifts up his head. And he says one thing to this Chassid. Kedalim ucheroshim dafaknu d'losecha. Kedalim ucheroshim. Nothing else was communicated. The Chassid's face turned white, and he left the room, and he got the whole shmuz. What was the Rebbe telling this man? The Rebbe was telling him, if you want to prepare for Slichos, if you want to understand what Slichos is about, what one aspect of opening the Yom Noraim, the door to the Yom Noraim, it's to understand that we are a dal. It's to understand that we are a rush. It's to understand that we don't come in expecting anything from the Rebbeinu Shalom. We don't have gaiva. We search for Rachmanos. We thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything He's given us, and we knock on His doors as Dalim Ucheroshim. If you think, said the Rebbe, without knowing the whole story, but knowing the whole story, if you think protects you, if you think coming in here with demands, if you think that that's the way to knock on the door, the Rebbe was communicating to this Gvir, you know better than anyone else that when that Ani knocks on your door and turns to you and he says, $5, that's what you're giving me, $5? I wasted all this time. Why did I even come and knock on your door? It's so hard, it's so difficult. Or that person at the kota, when you give him, you only have a half a shekel in your pocket. And you give him a half a shekel and he throws it on the floor. It's hard. It's difficult to have rachmanis for such a person. But the person who knocks on your door and understands that whatever you're giving him is a gift, is because you're merachem on him, is because you care. And even if it's the smallest thing, even if it's not exactly what you expected when you knocked on that door, you appreciate it. Then the rachmanis begins. Then the door of mercy, of rachamim, of what we're asking for the next 2 weeks, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not because we demand it, not because you owe it to us, not because we expect anything, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu, bring us machnise rachamim, just be machnis some rachamim onto us, so that we could be people that could represent you, people that could be lemancha elokim chayim, that could live our lives with what you give us, that we could be mekadesh shem shamayim. We have to remember, we have to knock on that door. Dalamu charoshim. As we approach the first door, opening the doors of the Yom Noroim, to not come with anything, any demands, but to only ask, Kadosh Baruch Hu, please, for your rachmanos. about opening the doors. Every door has two ways. It's a point of entry and a point of exit. There's always two people and two entities on either side of the door. The Maggid of Yerushalayim, Rosh Vadron, used to say and illustrate the following picture to understand what the Torah tells us about this time. The Maggid said that there was a father and a son that had such a beautiful relationship. And the father and son lived in the same town, and Baruch Hashem, the father married off his son, and he was growing a family. Until one day there was a business opportunity far away across the sea, and the son approached the father and he told him, I'm going to have to take up this opportunity, I'm going to have to go give it a shot. And the father, although it was hard for him to separate himself from his son, he said to his son, we're going to stay in touch, we're going to get together, and we're still going to preserve our relationship. And the son moved 3,000 miles away across the ocean. And the father kept on sending letters, letter after letter, asking how the family is, asking how he's doing, keeping in touch. And in the end of some of the letters, the father would say, we really need to get together for a yontif, for a Shabbos. It's been too long. And finally, when the son wouldn't get back to make the arrangements, the father wrote a letter to the son one day and he said, I've gathered money, I've made arrangements, I'm taking the next ship out across the ocean to come and visit you. I'll be there at this and this point, on this and this date. These are the arrangements. The father's on the ship. He's sailing towards the sun. The father can't sleep at night. The father's so excited. He leaves his own room, goes out on the deck to just see if he can catch a glimpse of the coastline. As he approaches his son, finally on one of the checks, he sees that he's approaching the shore, and he doesn't even return back to the room, and he just stays on deck for the duration of the ride. As he's standing at the end of the deck, looking as the ship is approaching the port, he's looking over to see where exactly his son is standing, to find him so he can see his son for the first time that he hasn't seen in so long. And as the ship docks, the father is disappointed, and he looks and he tries to find his son, and his son is nowhere to be found. The father realizes he must have gotten very busy in the preparations and the arrangements while I was coming, that he wasn't able to make it all the way to the port. So the father takes his bag and he says, I'm going to go to the train station and take the train, and I'll meet my son at the train station, where he probably is waiting over there because he couldn't make it to the port. And the father gets on in the train, goes to the train station, gets off the train, looking out the window, searching for his son, and his son is nowhere to be found. Father gets off the train. Now he's starting to get a little nervous. My son is not here. After we haven't been together for so long, something's not right. He must have gotten into an accident. There has to be a reason why he's not here. And the father, so nervous and anxious, gets in to a buggy and quickly takes a ride to his son's address, and he gets off the buggy, finally arriving, and he sees all the lights are off except for one faint light in the back of the house. He runs up to check if everything's okay. He knocks on the door, and no answer. The father continues knocking, and finally there's a faint voice coming from the back of the house. Who is it? The father responds back to the son, what do you mean, who is it? You know exactly who it is. I sent you letters. I told you about the date. It's your father. I'm here. And the son says, Dad, it's really late. I'm already in my pajamas. Is it possible maybe you could just stay in the hotel across town and we can meet in the morning? Pasuk in Shir Hashirim says, Pashatati es kutonasi. I already took off my clothing. I'm already in my pajamas. It's very late at night. Rachatzti es ragli. Heichi atanfeim. How am I going to now get my feet dirty after I washed them? Yet there's someone knocking at the door. Kol dodi doifek. Said Rav Shvadron. And he didn't answer. He didn't come to the door. So the father didn't respond. The father didn't say anything. But the father got right back into the buggy. Didn't even go to the hotel. Went straight back to the train. From the train, went straight back to the port. And from the port, sailed back to home. The son wakes up in the morning and he realizes, what did I do? My father traveled all this way. How could I have done that? He quickly runs to the hotel where he told him to stay, asked the front desk, never heard of such a man. Lo matzasihu. I searched for him, but he wasn't there. Patachti ani es tlasosai. I've opened my doors. But, doidi chamak va'ovar. He already left. He already sailed back. If we don't answer the door, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is b'soich hasadeh, in these last few days of Elul, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is also knocking on doors, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't only want us kidalim ucharashim dafaktu tlasosecha. We don't only knock, we also have to open the doors for those that knock. We want to be close friends with those people that want to get in and out of the same doorways. If we don't open up, if we don't find ways during these next few weeks to change, to make room for Dodi, to make an Ali l'Doidi first, and then v'Doidi li. But no, we come into Slichos, and we just say, Rebbeinu Shalom, where are you, v'Doidi li? Well, what are you doing for me? What's in it for me? We're shluffing. We're in pajamas. We don't want to get up. We don't want to shower. We don't want to change our ways. We don't want to wipe off the filth. We don't want to put any skin in the game. We just expect HaKadosh Baruch Hu to open the door for us, and we don't open the door for Him. Marav Rabbeisai, we need to recognize that the mafteach, the key to this door, is how are you opening the door for Him? The door opens in both directions. And if we expect to be answered on this Yom Noroi, Kidalim Ucharosh, it's because we're people that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you wanted to come over, please, I have a room for you. Tell us what you need. We'll let you in. I'll I'll put my clothing on right now. I don't care how late it is. Kodesh Baruch Hu, I recognize that you traveled across the sea, that you took a train, that you were standing on the deck waiting for me to be waiting for you. So I might not have been there, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu says it doesn't matter. We're holding by El. Whatever it was, why you weren't there, I'm not focusing on. But just please, open the door when I knock. Forget about the train ride. Forget about the port. But at least when I knock, can you please let me in? One more door that I want to speak about. But what type of doorway is this? We already have the exit and the entry. Unless you're talking about a revolving door, what's the third door? There's a Maisa, but there were two business partners. That business was okay, and then things took a turn for the worse. They were losing a lot of money. One of the shutfin, one of the partners, decided that he's going to invest in a certain investment without telling the other shutf. He walked into the office after the investment didn't work, and he broke the news to the other shutf, to the other partner. And the partner, after hearing this, turned to him and he said, "You did what? You invested the only thing we had left? I am going to kill you," he said in the office, in front of everyone. Next day, shutuf that threatened showed up to work, and the other shutuf was not there. At the end of the day, someone went to check in the house. He opened up the door, and he found him dead on the floor of his kitchen. It was an investigation. Police interviewed all the secretaries in the office, what they heard, and they brought it to trial. The prosecutor paints a case. This is a no-brainer. Everyone heard exactly what happened less than 24 hours prior to finding the shutuf dead. This shutuf never had any other issue with any other guy. And the jury is convinced. There's no question that this other shutuf is the only possible murderer. And the defense attorney stands up and he claps his hands. Wow. That was quite prosecution. Quite a presentation. I have to tell you, I don't think that I've ever heard such a case so convincing in my life, in my career. Yet he turns to the jury and he says to them, "There's one problem. Tomorrow at 1:15 p.m., the murder victim is going to walk out of that door." Everyone's starting to, whoa, what's going on? Everyone's talking. What, is that possible? Is it? The judge grabs the gavel. He says, "Order in the court. We're going to re-adjourn for tomorrow at 1:15, like the defense attorney just said." And tomorrow came. All the other courtrooms weren't in session. Everyone was packing the house, packing the room. They were sitting on the rafters, on the windowsills. Everyone was waiting. By 12:55, the room was packed. Everyone's staring at the door as 1:10 comes. It's 1:15. The door's not opening. Judge looks at the defense attorney. It's a little late. Waits till 1:30. Nothing's doing. The judge asks if he can meet and if both lawyers could approach the bench. What's going on? What's happening? And he asked for 15 more minutes. 1:30, 1:45. Finally, the defense attorney gets up and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, jury, I have something to tell you. There's no one walking out of that door. There's no one walking into that door. I'm sorry to disappoint you. But I'd like to tell you one thing. All of you in this room, including every member of the jury, were staring at that door from 1:15 until 1:45. And if this prosecutor really convinced you, if his arguments and his circumstantial evidence was really convincing, then why did you look at that door? And the defense attorney sits down. The prosecutor also gets up, claps his hands. Wow. In my career, I've never seen such a defense. That was very, very impressive. I gotta tell you. But there's just one problem. Every member of the jury looked at that door. Everyone in this room was staring and focused at the door. Except for one person. Watch the tapes. The actual murderer never bothered to even look at the door. You know why? Because he had no hopes. And there was nothing happening at that door. And he didn't believe that that door would open. Because he knew that he was guilty. And that he's the murderer. Moreover, Rabbi Isai, the door knocks. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knocks. And we knock. But we need to, before we get to the knocking, before we even approach Kedalim Ucharashim, Dafaknu ala Deles. Moreover, Rabbi say we need to believe that there are doors. That there are doors of opportunity. That there are doors that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has in store for us this year. And that means, Rabbi say, that we need to believe that there's doors. We need to believe in ourselves. Like we spoke at Shalashudis. Lo tamin b'chayecha. The person, he's eating paspalter. He doesn't have aspirations. He doesn't believe that he has the ability. He doesn't think that he can get places, that he has doors of opportunity. Rabbi said, before you knock, you have to recognize who you are. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created doors for each and every one of us. And he wants to bestow bracha. But in order for us to start the Yom Noraim, we have to believe and turn towards the door. Before we even think about knocking on the door. Prior to even being doifek. Before we let him into our doors. We have to know about a door. And believe in ourselves. So that we can go on the direction. And look towards the door. Rabbi Isai, Tamin ba'atzmacha. Remember that you have the ability. Stop going with your old ways. So you weren't learning as much as you should have then. But there's now. Stop making this Yom Noraim like every other Yom Noraim. Stop schluffing. Wake up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says it's time. There are doors of opportunity. You're at the next year of your life. Why not? Why not take advantage? Let's find those doors. I want to close with a word of the Imrei Emes. The Imrei Emes said something incredible, Rabbi Isai. He said, there's a phrase, it's not exactly clear if that phrase is accurate, but it's Yodua in the Welt. Atem pischu pesach shel machat. V'ani eftach lecha pischu shel olu. So we often speak about the Pesach shel machat. But the Imrei Emes asked, why is it that HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens kepischo shel ul? There were many different psachim in V'hareini b'vinyanu, in seeing the Beis HaMikdash. Why specifically the Pesach of the Ulam? What about the Heichal? What about the Paraychis? What about those psachim that are deeper in, that are closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Said the Imrei Emes, said the Ger Rebbe, the Pischo Shel Ulam is the one Pesach in the Mokum HaMikdash that has no door. It doesn't lock anyone out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't even want to have a door in our relationship. I want to open up the Pesach to let everyone in and to totally connect with you without any limitation. That's what I want to create. Please start and begin this relationship by believing in the fact that that relationship is capable. Even here, even in Fairlawn.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to create a Pischo Shel Ulam in our lives. So Rabbi Isai, as we close and we sing the last final song, let's try to contemplate, let's try to think. How is this Yom Noraim going to bring about a Pischo Shel Ulam? How is this Yom Noraim going to be different than every other year? How am I going to believe in myself? How am I going to make sure to look towards the door and not try just to run out away from the relationship and go through the emergency exit? No, I want to have that relationship that could create a Pischo Shel Ulam. And Mirza Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu, without limitations, without any door, will bestow upon each and every one of us a year of Hatzlacha, a year of Simcha, a year of Bracha, a year of Nachas, a year of Menucha. And Mirza Hashem, most importantly, a year of Aliyah, a year of a closer Dveikis B'Hashem for each and every one of us, for our spouses, and for our children. Go ahead.